Diolch I chi am rhedeg ymgyrch mor gryf. Da chi wedi bod yn yr Alban heddiw, da chi wedi bod yn Lloegr, a da chi yma yng Nghymru. Dwi am cyflwyno chi I Emily Owen rwan o Aberconwy.
It's really great to see everyone here, and it's great to see how many younger people are here as well. This campaign's been absolutely fantastic from start to finish, and without further ado we will let the main man himself speak instead of me. So here we go, future Prime Minister Jeremy Corbyn.
First of all, thank Gareth, who's going to be elected tomorrow. Emily, elected tomorrow. And Mary Griffith-Clark from Alphon, who is running the most fantastic campaign, popular campaign, exciting people on cultural, environmental and many other issues. And she too. Let's go for it to win. Mary, Emily, Gareth, thank you very much. And thank you, ColwynBay. I'd love to stay and take a dip and play on the sand, but unfortunately I have to tell you the sad news that this is the 87th rally we've done in 7 weeks of this campaign. And there's still 3 more to do. We started early this morning in Glasgow and we've been coming south, stopping off, talking to people, and you know what? Whatever the time of day, whatever the weather, the rallies get bigger, stronger and more confident. Because 7 weeks ago, when the election was announced, you probably all read the very serious commentary in a lot of the very serious newspapers by incredibly serious people who seriously thought that they would seriously know what the serious answer was to the question. Well, I've got news for them. During 7 weeks of this campaign, more than 100,000 people have come forward to join the Labour Party. That in one day we raised many hundreds of thousands of pounds from our members, and the average donation was £22. No billionaires, and I don't know the numbers of any billionaires to ask them to give us some money anyway. And so this campaign is about people, is about what we offer to people. And what changed was when our manifesto came out: for the many, not the few. For the many, not the few. And nobody can ever say that in the general election of 2017 there wasn't an alternative offer put forward. 5 more years of a Conservative government, just think what this country would be like. Think what the level of support would not be for the government in Wales and what it's trying to achieve. And I do praise the government of Wales and the Labour Party in Wales for a lot of what it's achieved. In putting education first, in investing in people. But it's hamstrung by the attitudes in Westminster. And so we do need a change of government in London as well. So there can be fair funding all across the country. The National Health Service in England is in a very difficult situation. 5 more years of a Tory government will lead to longer waiting lists. 5 more years of a Tory government will lead to more and more people not getting the social care they deserve and need. And 5 more years would mean many of those going through a mental health crisis will not get the support they need and deserve. I am determined that a Labour government will invest properly in our National Health Service. It was, after all, the foundation by a great Welsh MP, Aneurin Bevan, who established the National Health Service. And last night in Barry, we had a link-up rally to all the other rallies going around the country, where I appeared on a screen in the rain in Birmingham, but I'm sure there was sun in Barry. There's always sun in Barry, and now we're in North Wales and there really is sun. Thank you very much. In fact, it's almost the best sun I've seen in the whole campaign. So well done, Colwyn. JeremyColwynBay. Well done, North Wales. But it's also about what we do in our society. When the Tories came into office in 2010 with the support of the Liberal Democrats, their response, yes, that's correct, thank you. Their response to the financial crash of 2008-9 was, yes, the banks must be supported. Yes, the banks must be bailed out. Yes, they're going to need tax relief at the top to encourage them to do something with their money, maybe invest, maybe not. And public services will be slashed all across the country. Look all across the UK at the cuts and closures that have taken place. And there's a price to be paid. And so it's all very well congratulating firefighters, paramedics, ambulance drivers and police officers and security officers when they rush to the scene of a disaster when the rest of us are trying to get away to a place of safety. They go and put themselves in danger that the rest of us may be safe. I absolutely praise, congratulate and thank them. But I tell you this, it's all made more difficult when 20,000 police officers have lost their jobs in the past 7 years. And so our proposal is that we will put 10,000 more police officers on the streets all across the UK. Property-funded police and community policing in order to make everyone safer. But it's also about communities coming together. And I believe very strongly in the power of communities coming together. We are people who want to live a life that is safe, secure. We want the very best for our children in the future. Therefore, we need a government that's prepared to invest in young people for the future. Thank you very much up there, Miss Joy. None of you fall down that slope. Because a Labour government will support education in Wales and Scotland, and I'm very proud of one of our proposals, which will be for English schools, but I'm sure, I know, and it will, because the Welsh Government is very keen on culture and music. I want every child in every school to be able to learn a musical instrument. It's something that helps their creativity and their imagination. So, by voting Labour, by electing Labour MPs tomorrow, you're electing a government that's going to challenge the economic narrative that we've had in this country for the past 7 years. What has actually happened has been that the richest pay less in tax. Corporations have seen their tax rate fall from 28 pence down to well below 20 pence, and under this government set to fall further. We've also seen tax write-offs on inheritance tax, capital gains tax, and many other tax reliefs at the top end. We've also seen absurd and obscene amounts of money squirreled away into tax havens on exotic islands around the world. And at the same time, all across the country, what's happening? Schools underfunded, libraries underfunded or closed. So much of our community fabric destroyed on the altar of the idea that somehow or other you cut your way to prosperity. Well, you don't. You don't cut your way to prosperity. So we're saying two things here. One is a Labour government will be really serious about investment. We're really serious about tariff-free access to the European market to maintain manufacturing jobs here in North Wales as well as all over the UK. And we will establish a national investment bank which will have at its disposal over 10 years £500 billion, which will be invested fairly all across Britain. So it will be, yes, in Scotland, yes, in Wales, and in every English region. Because we cannot go on being the country in the world that doesn't invest when we should and allows so much to be put into property speculation when it should be put into good quality housing for all, as well as jobs for all through manufacturing industry. And so we have, thank you, we have a very serious set of economic proposals there. But at the other end, what is happening? 6 million people in Britain earn less than the living wage. That's not right, that's not necessary, and many of those have to access tax credits in order to survive. Many people in work on such low pay, even nurses in our NHS, have to use food banks in order to survive. Many people sleeping rough on the streets of our towns and cities because they can't get anywhere to live because there is a housing shortage. And the levels of poverty amongst those with disabilities because of frozen benefits or benefits taken away by unfair tests of availability for work, which lead people to enormous levels of stress. None of this is right, proper, or necessary. And so we've got to look at the issues of rights at work. We've got to look at the issues of rights at work all over the UK. At the moment, we have, as I said, people on 0 hours contract with very few rights. We have a government that's introduced fees to go to an employment tribunal, and even costs might be awarded against the individual going there. Well, we've got a workers' charter, and that workers' charter, I won't give you all, it's too long, but it's very full and very good. I urge you to read it. First of all, full employment rights from day one of employment. Secondly, an end to bogus self-employment, where employers offer people work but don't really offer them a job and say, well, you go self-employed, won't cost me anything, I won't have to pay any employer's national insurance, you won't get any benefits, you won't get any security. Well, I'm sorry, that's not acceptable in this country. And an end to 0 hours contracts, and particularly important, I think, is a living wage, a real living wage of £10 an hour by 2020. That £10 an hour real living wage will make a big difference to an awful lot of families. So as we go forward to the election, starting at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, indeed many have voted by post already, they've been told how to vote by so many people who know so much and know so well. But what's happened in this campaign is something quite remarkable. We've been picking up support all the time. People have been listening to what we have to say. People have been listening and reading to the words that we put forward and the ideas we put forward. And it's that community strength which is so important and so vital. So, tomorrow, the choice. The choice is quite simple. 5 more years of a Tory government, 5 more years of austerity, 5 more years of cuts. Or something different. A government that is serious about representing people. And a government that would not be afraid to pick up the phone. Not be afraid. Everyone saying, I'm not done yet. Thank you. Not be afraid to pick up the phone to Donald Trump and say, listen mate, you're wrong on trying to destroy the Paris Climate Change Agreement. And you're wrong for this very simple reason. We all live on one planet. There isn't any other planet. And if we don't look after it and protect it, it won't be there. Our future will not be there. And so it does mean a government that is interested and serious about supporting and protecting our natural environment and the air quality, river quality and sea quality for all of us. There is no hiding place in pollution. So that will be our government. That will be a government that invests for the many, that invests in our futures, that funds our services properly. But it will also be such an important message. We've had 7 years of cuts, closures, poverty and austerity. We've had and seen the way in which former mining communities, former steel communities, many parts of the whole of Britain have seen little and been given very little ever since that time. It's time for a change. Time for a change, for a government that invests across the whole of the UK, that supports people all across the UK, and deals with the issues of inequality and poverty. Will it cost? Yes, it will cost. It'll cost to get rid of university fees in England. It will cost in terms of free school meals for all primary school children in England, and preschool places for all 2 to 4-year-olds. It does cost. I fully understand that. And it does mean that taxation has to be raised elsewhere. Therefore, there will be no tax rise for 95% of the population of this country. No rise in income tax, no rise in employees' national insurance, and no rise in VAT. There will be a rise of corporation tax up to 26%, which is actually less than it was in 2010. And there will be some other tax rises for the very rich and those that invest in property in Britain and try and do it tax-free from overseas. But the benefits of that will be transformative to so many people's lives all across the country. And I want our government, hopefully elected tomorrow and on taking office on Friday, I want our government to measure its success by the reduction of inequality, by the elimination of poverty, by the creation of good quality housing for all over the country. Because I find something deeply offensive about one of the richest countries in the world, the 5th richest country in the world, tolerating the idea that people should be sleeping rough on the streets of our towns and cities. Emily campaigned on homelessness and pointed out there were even people homeless living in caves here in North Wales because they couldn't find anywhere else to live. Don't blame them, blame a system that doesn't provide. And when you vote tomorrow, think of this. Think on the world we want for our children and the security we want for our older people. Think of what we can achieve together, and think of the alternative of that arid road, less spent on public services, less investment and less respect for communities, less support for children and young people, and all the while the gap between the richest and the poorest getting wider and wider and wider. What we're doing in this election is turning our backs on that strategy of dealing with austerity by creating more poverty. We deal with austerity by challenging poverty, injustice and inequality, and transform our economy and our lives for the good of all. And so, in the few hours that remain before the polling stations open, yes, knock on doors to get our 3 wonderful candidates here elected. Yes, identify those votes and spend all of tomorrow very, very politely, please, reminding them that if they haven't voted, they should. If they still haven't voted, they should more quickly. If they still haven't voted, they should vote very quickly. And if it's by 9:30 at night they still haven't voted, I give you permission to be quite blunt with them. But not before 9:30 at night, to be quite blunt with them. Please, my friend, get yourself down to that polling station and vote Labour. Country, I mentioned the NHS and the whole principles surrounding the welfare state. This is not the 20th century, this is the 21st century. We get our information by all of our media, including social media. And I thank all those people that have done so much to spread the word and support what we're doing in every form of media, every public meeting and every bit of door knocking. I thank all those musicians, from classical musicians and poets through to grime artists, who've come on board in the kind of society that they want. And I just say this to you on this wonderful place here in Colwynbay alongside the sea. Look at each other, look around you, look at who we are. What are we? Nice people! Good people! Yeah, very good, very good. Thank you very much, man in a check shirt. Excellent. What are we? We're young? Yes. We're children? Yes. We're old, yes. We're black, yes. We're white, we're disability, we don't have disabilities. But above all, we are people coming together with a view, a vision and a dream. Social justice and solidarity. So, I go back over to our candidates. Come forward. These people are candidates. Support them flat out all day tomorrow. Go for it. Let's deliver that historic victory. 2017 will be the year they will never ever forget.